Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at Baby Daisy Spirit Pokemon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting a new Latias card. I am excited, and I kid you not, I woke up this morning, I went to give Baby Daisy a cuddle, I started looking at scans on my phone of the new set, and as I start scrolling down, Baby Daisy looks at the phone, and there's a new Latias card. It's like she knows, ladies and gentlemen. It's like she knows. But is it actually any good? Well, it's got 120 HP, which is a bad start, because stuff like Baby Buzz, Haynick, and Zoroark will get a one-hit KO. We don't like that. The retreat cost of 1 is nice and low and does lead us towards Escape Board, which is pretty good. And the weakness to Fairy is honestly fine. Yeah, Gardevoir GX will have a field day, but it wasn't going to be that difficult to KO you anyway. Gardevoir and Sylveon was going to be getting a straight one-hit KO anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The weakness here? Yeah, I'm cool with it, ladies and gentlemen. I am cool with it. Being a dragon Pokemon does mean you can use Zinnia to accelerate energy from your hand, though that's not ideal. You can use Lance to get yourself out, but you will really want to save that for Stage 2s, not Basics. And you can use Devoured Field to do yourself an extra 10 damage. Whoop, and indeed, whoop. But what does it actually do? Well, the first attack for 1 Psychic Energy, 20 damage. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to that Pokemon. And that makes this one of those Silver Bullet Tech cards. One of those cards that you chuck in just because. Because sometimes your opponent might just put a whole bunch of energy down, and as soon as they put a whole bunch of energy down, you can just smash them with Latias. And that's really, really fun. So let's take something like Pikachu and Zekrom. Pikachu and Zekrom has a lovely GX attack, whereby they get to do 200 to the active and 170 to one of the bench. Cool. But in order to do it, they've got to have 6 energy on. Yowza. The thing is, you then get to do 120 damage for a single energy on a basic Pokemon. Now, there is an argument that if they've already got the 6 energy on and are using a GX attack, that's a little bit weird. Well, less weird, more bad for you. And then maybe doing 120, which is half the amount of HP they've got. Maybe that isn't good enough. But this can still be pretty gosh darn good. The problem is, this is rarely going to get a one-hit KO. Because most of the time, your opponent doesn't have essentially half of their HP in energy attached to them at one time. You do get those odd Pokemon that really do just pile energy on, and there's a chance that Tapu Lele puts 7 energy on. Now, if you can catch a Tapu Lele with 7 energy attached, this is brilliant. Tapu Lele puts 7 energy on. You then get to do 140. You add a choice band, it goes up to 170, you are golden. The thing is, even when this works, and that will if you play enough games with Latias, this will work sometimes. Sooner or later, this will work. The problem is, it's only going to work once. Because you're going to use this, and then it's going to go away, and your opponent's going to go, right, I'm not falling for that again. No. Fool me once, but no. You ain't getting away with that another time. So, I really like this as an attack. I like the idea that you can punish people for putting a whole bunch of energy on, but I am concerned about the fact that you're not really getting one-hit KOs, and even if you can maneuver yourself into a point where you are getting one-hit KOs, your opponent is just going to be able to stop you. Fall for it once, but then not fall for it again. The thing is, we need to go away from hitting the active for a moment, and remember that this can hit any of your opponent's Pokemon. So now there is a potential, at least, to actually get some really good stuff going with, oh, yeah, I'm just going to strand something in the active. So what you do is you play something like a Guzma. You drag a Pokemon active with a high retreat, maybe something like a Makago, and then you start hitting the bench. Now, if they haven't got any energy on the bench Pokemon, that's not going to do very much. But if they do, you can have a field day here. Because let's say, for argument's sake, there is a Pikachu and Zekrom with 6 energy on. So you drag a Makago active. You can now hit them on the bench for 120. But if they then can't get out the active, you then get the KO next turn. And what I really like about this strategy is that your opponent cannot ace roller out of it because it's not the active that's getting hit. They can still play a Guzma, they can still play a Switch or any of that, but they can't ace roller out of it. Now, maybe Lightning Deck's not the best example because some of them play Tapu Koko, not all of them. And if they're not playing a Tapu Koko, that's kind of hilarious. So you need to really time this well. But if you can find your opponent without something like a Guzma, you can really take advantage here. And I need to remind you now about the card we looked at yesterday, the ridiculously awesomely good one, Reset Stamp. Because you see, Reset Stamp allows you to, well, it's basically a one-sided N. Your opponent shuffles a hand into their deck and draws a number of cards equal to the number of prize cards remaining. I think this is where Latias shines. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the number one best use for Latias. Wait until it's late in the game. Use a Reset Stamp to get your opponent down to a 1 or 2 card hand. And it's not a supporter. How many times did you want to use N plus Guzma but you couldn't? 2 supporters. Well, now you can. So you play a Reset Stamp, put them down to a very small hand, then you drag something active with Guzma. It is much less likely they can get out the active because you've put them down to a small hand, and then you start sniping around with Latias. If they don't have energy on their Pokemon, it ain't going to work. But if they do, this is really, really good, ladies and gentlemen. This is an awful lot of fun. Very situational. It's not going to work all the time. This is not reliable, but it's a single energy on a basic Pokemon. So it's really not that difficult. Now there is a second attack here, but it's largely uninspiring. 2 fire, 1 colorless, 100 damage. The problem is you're a dragon Pokemon, so you're never hitting for weakness. Now with Devoured Field it goes up to 110, and there's a bunch of stuff out there like Tapu Koko and Zapdos that do have 110 HP. Cool, I guess, that's kind of nice. But you're never hitting for weakness. If you were hitting for weakness, then with a choice band this would be 130, double with weakness is 260, and now all of a sudden you're getting a one-hit KO on basically anything that's weak. And I'd be telling you about Welder, because Welder lets you attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon and draw 3 cards. So this would fit beautifully into any fire deck. Play a Welder, attach an energy, hit for dragon weakness, get a one-hit KO on basically anything that's weak, because of a choice band Devoured Field you'd be hitting 280. I mean, okay, Magikarp and Wailord has 300, but it's the only one that has more than 280, so you really don't need to worry. And you can have a card to pop into fire decks where you're hitting a new weakness and getting a one-hit KO on anything that's weak. But nothing's weak to Dragon. Now, admittedly, you can go into the expanded format and there's some of the old Dragon Pokemon that are weak to Dragon, but come on. And now it's just super awkward. This could have been a good attack. And if we get any Pokemon printed that are weak to Dragon, this can again become a good attack. But as it stands at the moment, this is not a good attack. Boo, etc. Now, before we finish the video, I need to point out, and this is pointed out to me by people like the lovely David Hochmann and the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net. You should be checking that website regularly. If you're at all a fan of Pokemon, you probably already do, to be honest. You really should be. Latias here, it says 20 times on the card. And it's because you pick a Pokemon and it does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to them. But this is not the way Pokemon cards are usually printed. This is pretty much the anti-Alolan Executor GX. Alolan Executor GX lets you pick a Pokemon and does 20 damage for each energy attached to you. So it's the same attack, except it's the amount of energy attached to you, not attached to them, and this doesn't have 20 times on it. That's weird, right? And generally speaking, cards where you select the Pokemon to do the damage don't have the energy on them. Look at Entei GX. Does 150 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, but you get to choose, so it doesn't have the 150 printed on. So the fact that the 20 times is printed on the Latias is in and of itself a mystery. Honestly, it genuinely seems like a mistake. Now, it might be that this is just a new thing that they're doing, but this is not the way they usually print cards. Now, I know it's not the most important thing in the world, and that's why we're chucking it on the end of the video as a bit of a curiosity. But this makes it a very unusual card, a rather mysterious card, and this is, generally speaking, not the way that these are printed. And that's weird to me. I'm going to be giving Latias 3 Wassies. I really want to bump it up just because it's Baby Daisy Spirit Pokemon, but I'm going to be good. This is the kind of card you want to have in your binder because you might use it at some point. This is a really nice card for doing a little bit of damage. But really, this is a niche card, and I think the use is reset stamp, drag something active, and then start sniping around, and if your opponent doesn't top something, you can win. I'm certainly going to be putting this in decks where I'm playing Psychic Energy, and I think you should be playing around with it too. Speaking of which, I'd like to know if you are going to be playing around with it. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about other games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.